Well, I love your name. My name is Mike as well.
Hey, Mike.
So, well, I really don't need this, but... Oh, okay. I really don't have a question for you, but I would love to know your thoughts. So, many of us were raised with the mindset of you do your work well, and there's no complaining. If you want something, you take care of it. Well, in today's generation, many of us here, you take care of your property, you get a notification your property taxes are going up. You go to the gas station, 2 days, the gas prices go up 60 cents. So what are your thoughts on giving us hope that things will get much better for those of us who go to work every day and live off of a budget? You know, I think a lot of people, especially in Washington, have lost a sense of reality. You know, I think we're just a number. So.
Well, let me encourage you that we can get it all back. America will come roaring back faster than you possibly do. I mean, one of the things I think we learned during the Trump-Pence years, we passed the largest tax cut and tax reform in American history just before Christmas in 2017. We rolled back regulations. We unleashed American energy. 7 million good-paying jobs were created. 12,000 factories reopened in this country that had shut down. We got the largest trade deal in American history passed, the USMCA, that changed some of the incentives that were driving jobs, particularly south of the border. So it can all come back. The strength of the country is all there, but we've got to get away from the policies that are driving this record inflation in the country today. Inflation is up 16.6% since the day we left office. A dozen eggs cost 50% more today than they did the day we left office. I mean, you know, go on down the list. Gasoline prices are 60% higher. These are very real things, but I'm telling you, they're very real solutions to them. The first plan that we came out with as a candidate for president was a plan to tackle inflation. And if you look at that website that's up on the screen behind me, you can go check it out. Pretty straightforward plan about exactly how we get inflation under control and bring real relief to American families. But the strength of America is not in Washington, D.C. The strength is among the American people. And by allowing families to keep more what they earn, businesses to keep more what they earn so they can invest back in ways to create jobs and opportunities, allowing us to develop the resources of this land, rolling back the kind of regulations that literally cost jobs in businesses like Sukup and others around the country. I mean, all those issues, the border, for instance, which is the worst crisis in the history of the southern border of the United States is underway today. But it's a man-made crisis, just so you know. I mean, we'd essentially eliminated illegal immigration and asylum abuse during our 4 years by building a wall over hundreds of miles, but also by demanding that people remain in Mexico while they apply for asylum here. And also using Title 42 to say if you jump across the border in 2020, we could remove you immediately out of the country. That literally dried up the crisis at the southern border and stayed that way until, frankly, President Biden came in and undid all those policies. What I'm saying to you is there are solutions to all these things. But what it's going to take is new leadership in the White House, and also it's going to take leadership in the Congress that will get behind that. When we think of all the things that we got done in the Trump-Pence years, it was particularly those first 2 years when we had a Republican Senate and a Republican House. We were able to pass tax cuts and regulatory reform, unleash American energy, and all the kind of things that created incredible growth for the American people. And it can happen again. But we've got to have, I think we've got to have new leadership in the White House, but I believe we've got to have new leadership in the Republican Party. And frankly, I think we also have to have leadership in Washington that at least creates the conditions where we might be able to find common ground, even if we differ on core issues. I mean, when you look at what's happening in this economy today, when you look at the burden that inflation is placing on American families, you look at the crisis at our border and a broken immigration system. And you look at Russia on the move in Eastern Europe, China continuing to menace. We got to find a way that Washington, D.C. can talk to each other again. I'm someone that believes that democracy depends on heavy doses of civility. And if you've taken any note of my career over the last 20 years, you'll know that people who know me know I'm a conservative, and I'm not in a bad mood about it. You know, I don't hold it against you if you have different views than me. I really don't. Right? And I think people I served with in the Congress, governors that I worked with, particularly during that pandemic around the country, Republicans and Democrats knew that I dealt fairly with people. And I think you can create the conditions where you can take some of these big problems on, provide real leadership. But it's going to take experience. And like I said at the outset, no time for on-the-job training. We've got real challenges for families, for businesses, for this economy, for our border, not to mention law and order in our major cities and on the world stage. And but I'm confident we can deliver policies that will turn it around. So fast it'll make your head spin. I promise you. This is a great country filled with great people. And we put the right policies into effect, America will come rolling back. Just like it did back in those early days of our administration.